What is up, everybody? Monday night is here, which means we got cover two coming at you. You got myself and you got Coach. What's up, Coach? How you doing, man?
What's good, Jess? Money being made around here. Money being made around here. Buying cars, fancy rings, diamond rings, if you like that kind of thing. There's a lot of people getting paid. They're getting money, bruh. What's good?
Everybody's getting paid right now, man. Everybody's getting paid. I mean, it's good from a player standpoint. I definitely like it. I'm not a big fan of billionaires holding on to their billions when they own these teams. So I like the fact that Jed York is paying these guys and that these guys are getting life-changing money, sometimes for the second or third time. But overall, I'm always a fan of players getting paid for sure.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm a players guy. I'm a player first guy. These boys, average life expectancy in the NFL is 3 seasons. All right. You love to see it when the guys are finally getting what little they leave left for us, right? You look at a cap of 260 and north to 270 million. I know we understand as, mortals, blue collar guys, when the money gets thrown around, it's hard to differentiate what part of the pie that these guys are getting. But they don't get a big slice. A cap, a salary cap, the actual cap is actually made in revenue from a real team within like the first 2 weeks of the season, right? So, that's something that fans don't really don't recognize, is that the cap is there to keep the billionaire boys in check. Or if this thing could turn into baseball really quick, where we could just start paying highest bidders. But I do like the fact that, sometimes deals are easy to do. I think the Fred Warner deal was an easy deal to do. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so they signed Fred Warner. They gave him a 3-year, $63 million extension. They've got him signed through his year 33 season. So it goes through 2029. He'll be 33 that year. And, we don't know that he'll for sure be a lifetime 49er. Just because you're signed doesn't mean you can't get out of deals, whatever. But it does seem like they're trying to go the trend of lifetime 49er with Fred Warner, lifetime 49er with George Kittle. And I don't have an issue with it. I mean, Fred Warner, out of all the deals that have been signed between the Warner deal, the Purdy deal, and the Kittle deal, I'm probably the biggest fan of the Fred Warner deal. I'm totally fine with that. He's the clear best player on defense, in my opinion. He's the most consistent. He's a leader. He's under the age of 30. We know exactly what he is. We know exactly what he's not. So for me, I'm totally fine with the deal. Kittle deal, I also like, but, Kittle's on the wrong side of 30, and I'm not a big fan of extending guys on the wrong side of 30 necessarily. George Kittle doesn't seem to be slowing down, but you just never know with those guys. And then, it's no secret, my opinion on the Brock Purdy contract. I think the contract itself is fine. We don't know the details yet, so it's really hard for me to give a full opinion. My initial reaction is, all right, yeah, no, I don't really have that much of an issue with it, but I did prefer if they would wait a year to see what he fully is. I also knew that wasn't a realistic possibility. So I would say out of the three, I'm the most happy about the Fred Warner deal.
Yeah. I would say that's the deal that made the most sense, right? George's deal, you did think, hey man, are they going to go back and forth on George's deal? You saw how George ended up taking a little bit of a bump down just to help the team out, take a little bit less money than he customarily could have gotten on the market. So I get that, but these are just, I feel like this is battening down the hatches before we get on our main voyage, which is 3 seasons of tough sledding. And they're trying to make sure that they get their provisions right, lock down the guys who may get wandering eyes during free agency or during contracts when they're up, when things aren't looking so well. And I look at these deals as, look, you deserve the deal, right? You earn deals. You're not given deals. So I believe that they looked at Fred, they looked at George, they said, look, you guys deserve these deals, and you may not recognize us for a couple of seasons fiscally, or how aggressive we've been over the last 5 years. But let's go ahead and get you out the way now, pay you what you need to, because it's good that Fred is going to be the highest paid linebacker in sports right now. They did it twice when he got paid. He'll never get that deal again. This is it. So they sent them off into the sunset, and I think that out of all of the guys, the whole 10-year from 2017 on, we're going into year 9 of this whole thing. I think that the Niners have snatched themselves a couple of guys that they feel as though organizationally, we want to bring you guys over, right? You know, I'm a contractor in certain jobs, right? And when you're a contractor and you're dealing with your client, as soon as the deal goes up, sometimes the client likes the consultant, right? They like the contractor, and they're like, "Hey, look, your company may get rid of you, but we may lateral you over because you did such a good damn job while we were doing business together. And, you know, once we lateral you over into our organization, then you'll actually be not a contracted employee, but actually somebody who's here for us." I look at that when I see second deals from the Niners where they're saying to themselves, all right, we want to keep you. You're going to be a 10-year guy. Fred will be holding some type of microphone somewhere in 15 years. He'll be in the Ring of Honor. You know, I think the Niners have seen equity with him, and I think that's what this is. It's an equity deal. You don't make him the highest paid player in his position twice over, and coming off of a season that we just had where the defense was quite bad, and they still showed a vote of confidence. So I look at this more as, more of a golden parachute than a, we had to get it done. No, I think they just respected their guy. It's mutual.
Yeah, I think so as well. A lot of mixed emotions in the chat. Some people celebrating the Purdy contract, some people not. I haven't actually gone live since the Purdy contract happened. I did a stream on Bleacher Report, and then I did like a quick shorts reaction, what have you. But this is the first time I've been live on my channel since the Purdy contract. I don't know what your thoughts were on it, Coach. I do know what your thoughts are, but we'll talk about it here in a second. But it seems like we're kind of on the same page with this, where it's a wait and see. We want to know the exact details before we get all crazy with it. My thing was, when this whole thing was going down and we knew that he was going to get signed, I always said the first couple of days, people are going to freak out one way or another. I'm going to be patient until the details come out. And the details aren't going to come out until he's officially signed. His agent leaked the deal on a Friday. The team hasn't announced it yet, which means he hasn't officially signed it. He's going to sign it. The deal is done, it sounds like. But until it's actually inked, we're not going to know the details. And that could be a few more days, maybe up to another week. So for me, I'm going to reserve the right to have a reaction when we know the details. We can get excited over headlines and what have you and go over every little detail we know, but there's too much that we don't know to really come to a consensus on this. What I will say, though, is that to me, when the agent leaks it and it takes what looks like to be a week, maybe a week plus for the details to come out, I think that it's going to be probably more team friendly than what people realize. Usually what happens is these big deals get leaked and then nobody has the patience to wait. When the Trevor Lawrence deal went down last year, Coach, everybody freaked out. Oh, he's not worth it. It's so much money.
How could they do this?
A week later, you look at it and you go, that was actually a really good deal by Jacksonville. I have a feeling that we're going to look at this and say, this was a good deal by the 49ers, and we're probably going to be pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I think it's going to play out. Obviously, before we even see the details, we were already looking at the structure of the deal. We've got the 165 guaranteed in the first front-loaded 3 years of his deal, outside of the 181 guaranteed that he has. That puts him at $55 million a year for the first 3 years. Right there, I think the operative question is, are the Niners ring chasing in those 3 years, or are they building their depth through the draft? Now, with the money that he's getting paid, on top of Nick Bosa getting his money, George Kittle getting his money, now we've got Fred that just walked into his money. Don't look now, but Jauan's going to be asking for a contract pretty soon. We just signed Diamador Lenore to another big-time contract. What we're doing right now is we're killing ourselves in free agency, which I love. I don't want us, the only thing that contracts really strap us with is to be able to go get trades and be big players in free agency. I think our biggest issue right now is our freaking depth. We're old, we're not young, and we're expensive, right? So the biggest way to get that done is not to pick up somebody else's problem. If guys that are in free agency, very few of them are there because the team didn't want them to. Most of them
Right.
are there because teams have moved on. Okay. So whatever you're getting in free agency, you're getting the after effects of what this guy can do, which I believe should be best well spent on our rookie people taking over that time and playing. I think that we've got 2 full draft slates in last year and this year to go. We need another and another. It's time for us to get younger. We need to build our depth. Let's just say, case in point, with this Brock Purdy deal hitting, and it really hits next year, really, because he's still going to be playing this regular deal this year. But let's just say, hypothetically, this was next year. Brock's getting paid $55 million a year, and the Niners are close. We're 1 game out of the playoffs, or trying to go into this, kind of go into the wild card. I say, don't pick up that guy. Our cap is still in triage. Like, we still need a couple of years of normalcy. And whatever we get isn't going to be close enough to make us a Super Bowl contender. We're that far out of the window. So being able to pick up guys and take away time from real young guys that we're going to bring in that are already here, that are in our next year's draft, that's going to make us a team. Got to be honest, Jess. You know what was so awesome? You know what was so freaking dope about 2019? Is that we had the drop on the whole league. They had forgotten about us. We sucked. Nobody cared about us. Nobody gave a damn about Fred Warner from BYU. Nobody knew who George Kittle was. Dre Greenlaw was an afterthought. People were getting his name wrong, calling him Greenwell. They didn't know who he was. And what was dope about it is that we sat back and we built, we developed, and we got depth. And I think that if we're smart, we'll realize that that is this time again. All right. Where there's going to be some guys in 2 years who are going to say, who the fuck is Nardo Green? You know what I'm saying? In 2 to 3 years, people are going to be asking, like, who's that guard that y'all, like, where'd you find that guy? I'm telling you, it takes years like this. So pay your guys. I understand that they need to get their leaders out of the way because they're going to need those voices. But all of this, you know, quest for 6 and bend but don't break and all of that, no. They're paying these guys to revitalize franchise. That's what they're getting paid for. No more getting paid for Super Bowl windows. We're paying you to make us look decent and to basically train your replacement. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of sat back and paid attention to how people are reacting over these deals. And I think the right thing is to be excited over them. I have zero issue with that. But for me, everybody's acting like all of a sudden new deals to the same players that were already on the roster makes them Super Bowl teams. It's like, hold on. How are the 49ers better today by signing Fred Warner, who was already on the team, or signing Brock Purdy, who was already on the team, or signing George Kittle to an extension, who was already on the team? People are acting as if they've just gone out and gotten A-list free agents. Like, guys, they were on the team regardless. Now, be excited for the player. Don't get me wrong. Be excited that these guys are here long-term. Totally fine. But to act as if, oh, now that the player is paid more, he's a better player and we're better for it. I don't understand that mentality. And a lot of people seem to have it.
I mean, not only that, I've seen it go a step further. I saw on Twitter today where somebody said that the Niners have hands down a revamped defense, top 5 defense in the NFL, and that we're moving on and ready to go with 5 rookies that are about to start. It's just, you know, I feel like it's, you know, it's dramatics. People want to feel good. It's a dopamine hit to see a guy get paid. You know, obviously the Niners are not known to be a franchise that just completely wastes money. So when we pay a guy, it's supposed to strike into a, like, you know, a vibe of optimism, but it really is kind of like a nothing to see here type deal. You know, Fred got his deal. You know, we got a bunch of rookies coming on. We're going to ask a lot of Fred this season. He's going to have to be available, you know, and which he always is. Not to say that he's not, but that's what he's getting his money for. He's getting his money because he helps us from the. I mean, this is what you pay Fred for, because he's valuable in no matter what iteration you are in your team. If you're the tip of the spear, he'll be the best linebacker in football. If you're a middling team, he's got the consistency and the injury history to not get hurt and play balls to walls. If you're a team that absolutely sucks, at least he's your floor, right? The bottom won't fall out. So with the guy that shows consistency in all phases of whatever the team's going through, you got to pay the guy. I get it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've seen this one a lot too. It's like, guys, it's only a 6-year, $45 million per year deal. It's like, we don't, we've never given this concession for any other deal. This is my thing is like, we don't have to give a concession on this deal. Let's treat it like we see every other deal. We didn't talk about Jordan Love or Tua or Dak or any of those guys and add in the final year of their deal that was already in place and then try to finagle the numbers to drive it down. We don't need to do all that. We know what the new money is. That's what we should be comparing is new money versus new money. And I don't think we have to do these mental gymnastics to feel good about the deal. I did a lot, but he's not the only one. I've seen a lot of people talking about because they're including this year. It's like, guys, every deal is like this. Every deal has we can do that, but we have to be consistent across the board. To me, that's too many mental gymnastics. Let's just look at the deal for what it is, and let's wait and see what the cap hits are. And to me, the way that it sounds like it's worded, the cap hits are going to be pretty manageable, man. They're going to be in a good spot. And that's what I'm most excited to see. Now, listen, if the cap hits aren't manageable and they look like Tua's deal, I'm going to be pretty upset with the deal. So I'm just being fully transparent. Once we know those cap hits, that's what really concerns me. I don't care if you said he was getting $1 billion for all I care. What are the cap hits? That's what I care about. I don't care what Jed pays.
Hypothetically, what do you think? How you think the cap split is going to look?
I think it's going to be pretty low. I think it's going to be, this year's cap will go up a little bit. I think he was around like 5'9" or something like that. He'll probably go to the 8s. Next year will probably be 17 to 20. The year after that, it'll be closer to 30. That's so manageable, man. That's manageable. Nothing. When the cap is going up the way that it is, we still get more room. So manageable. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. I was looking at deals like Hurts and Lawrence and Love and some of these other guys that have gotten new deals, and they've done a good job of managing it. But then when you look at Dak and you look at Tua, those deals bottom falls out. I mean, you look at the cap immediately, it goes up in year 2 significantly. So I just hope that the 49ers have finagled the cap. That's all I care about. What is the cap hit? That's all that matters.
Yeah, really. And then also, my biggest thing for the contract, once the details come out, is they're truly an out in year 3.
There will be.
Yeah. So, we got an out. It hits the cap well. We front loaded to get the money out the way. What more can you ask for? We didn't reset the market with him. He's ranked 7th. He's exactly where I believe he is. I think Tua, that I think that Brock is better than Tua. I believe that Brock is better too. Yeah. He's better than Tua, right? And I believe that Brock, debatable. We've argued this before. I believe on this very show. I'm not a fan of Jalen Hurts. I think that Brock Purdy is better than Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I know you disagree, but for me, I just think that he's the 7th best quarterback with a rising cap, with a rising quarterback market. You couldn't ask for more. The Niners, and if you're the Niners, you can't be seen talking out of both sides of your mouth. They really have been pushing how hard they want this. And for them to come out and just disrespect him with the deal, that would make us look worse. I mean, Brock Purdy really does have the social currency. He's been kind of aces as far as character is concerned. So all of these, there was smoke there, right? BA was the contract with BA was continued. The Debo contract was continued. Waited to the 11th hour with Nick Bosa. Then we had 2 holdouts essentially with Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams. Nobody wants to talk about that. I feel like that's like the Mandela effect. And nobody realizes that Trent held out too last year and CMC to an effect. You got all of those deals that happen. And I think that if it would have happened with Brock, it would have been like, all right, now wait. This is you guys. This isn't the players. We're getting the same results from all different types of players with all different types of attitudes and how they're perceived in the NFL. I like the fact that they kept the narrative and the optics the same. They kept that and the negotiations congruent, right? So there was no gaps there where we can say, well, did the Niners really want to pay Brock? No, they paid him, got it out the way in May before training camp happened. It's good to go. And I think as time, we're going to fit into this contract very well. right? We're going to work ourselves into this, and this is going to fit like a glove. I do. The money has nowhere to go but up. So we got him like right on the cusp before it started being like, okay, calm down. He ain't that good. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that they gracefully fell in the perfect spot. And I hate to use the word perfect, but if you go lower, we win. But you would have to understand that Brock's not happy with it if we go lower, right?
Right.
And that's just a ticking time bomb, right? Now, if we go too high, you know what we be saying. All over, we be all over the place. The mortgage is done. Don't forget the draft. You know what I'm saying? We completely sold everything. Kyle's all but fired. It's over, right? They found a way to come in right where the sweet spot was. And like I said, the deal gets better with time. You can't ask for a better deal.
Yeah, I just want to touch real quick on the Hurts thing. I've been pretty consistent in this, in that I don't feel strongly about Hurts in a way that if I'm building a team, I don't like the type of quarterback that Hurts is. I prefer Brock Purdy's play style.
Right.
But it's like the Sirianni thing where it's like, okay, well, if I don't believe in Hurts and I don't believe in Sirianni, like who gets credit? They have to get some credit because they win and Hurts performs well. Like regardless of how we slice it, when the games matter most, Hurts performs his best. He just does. And so, that's the way that it's panned out. And so I have to give him credit for that the same way I have to give Sirianni credit for that.
I agree with that though, Jess. Like, listen, I think we're on the same page. We're just on different paragraphs. Yeah. I agree too that I like Brock Purdy's style of playing quarterback far better than I like Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Yeah.
But styles make fights. And Jalen Hurts is in an offense where they understand what he's good and what he's not good at. And they make room for him to play his own way. They allow him to stretch himself out to grow. But at the same time, there's not a lot of times where the Eagles are putting Jalen Hurts in bad positions where his vulnerabilities kind of are exploited. You can't necessarily say the same thing about Brock. There's been times where we question if Brock is being protected by Kyle with the offense that's being ran, especially during crunch times and elements during the game where it's like, hey, man, can we just run the ball? We don't need Brock behind it out of his own territory, not even cross flipping the field yet. And we're going 5 wide on 3rd and got to have it. Like, why are we, we need to kind of like help him out. So I do believe that the success of quarterbacks is about 80% of their own, attributes and athleticism. And I would say the other 20 is their support system and how they're used. So just because Jalen Hurts, I believe that let me ask you this. Do you believe that Jalen Hurts is used better than Brock Purdy? We understand that Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy have different offenses, right? They're asked to do 2 different things. But is Jalen Hurts used better as the quarterback for the Eagles for what they asked him to do? Is he put in the better situations? Or is Brock Purdy when he's with the 49ers? Who is put in a better situation?
I mean, I think it depends on the year. I mean, in 2023, Brock Purdy was put in a phenomenal situation. In 2024, Hurts was put in a phenomenal situation. I think this is what makes this so tough is they both rely so much on what's going on around them because there is only those few guys that are the elite of the elite. Neither of these guys, in my opinion, are elite. But what's the argument to say that Purdy is better than Hurts? What is the argument? You can't do the wins argument. You can't do the consistency argument. You can't do the stats argument. You can't. So it comes down to preference, right? And that's okay. I'm fine with the preference argument, but nobody wants to have the preference argument when it goes against Purdy. They only want to have it when it goes for Purdy. So that's my whole thing. Just be consistent.
You know what? I agree with that wholeheartedly. There's quarterbacks. I believe that Brock is better than Tua. And there's a lot of things that, well, wait a minute. I was about to go off the rails. Brock is categorically better than Tua, though. I don't like Tua at all. There's nothing I like about Tua's game. So yeah, okay. We can leave Tua alone. I think that's just a different conversation. But with Jalen, I do agree that it really does come down to style. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to what you like your quarterback to do and how he goes about getting that done. But But the fact that Brock is in the Tua is in like the Tua range, that's what made it all right for me. Because I don't believe that Tua should have got his money. But such is life.
Yeah, such as life is true. This is a good question. I got a couple good questions. Mr. Joe dropped one earlier, and Eric dropped one. Eric says, Jesse, can you explain what makes the cap hits manageable? I thought the only way was to pass them on to the following years, but either way, the bill comes due. So that conversation is more when you hear about a restructure. So a deal's already in place, team restructures deal, same deal, but they move money up front. The bill always comes due as far as the salary cap goes, meaning you're going to take cap hits somewhere, whether that's when the player's not on the team or when they are on the team. There's multiple ways to structure a new contract. You can the more money you give up front, the more you're able to spread that money across the totality of the contract and drive those salary cap numbers down. And it's all about when those bonuses hit, how they hit. Are they option bonuses? Is it a signing bonus? There's a bunch of little nuances to finagle the number. So they definitely can don't freak out when you hear first 3 years, $55 million a year. That's all well and good. That does not mean that that's anything close to what the cap hit's going to be. And that's why I say be patient on this before you lose your mind one way or another. And then Mr. Joe, I think, asked a good question. Or he makes a statement. He says, re-sign Jauan Jennings next. I disagree with this one, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm good letting Jauan Jennings go. I love Jauan Jennings. Don't get me wrong, but I think Jauan's 28 years old. Jauan's never going to be a number one wide receiver, in my opinion. I think he's best if he's your number 3 option. He can be a good number 2, but I would rather have him be my number 3. And I think that they've drafted so many receivers that you shouldn't overpay Jauan Jennings for what he is in the mix of the league. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. There's some guys that are out there too. Jauan Jennings is going to be up next year. The wide receiver market for next year, as far as wide receivers are concerned, Terry McLaurin is going to be out there. Mike Evans, Christian Kirk is going to be out there. Cortland Sutton is finally going to be back out there again, as well as Diami Brown, Marquise Brown. I think that, I don't know, Jess. I feel bad because I know that he's gonna want to get paid more than his worth. Like, whoever's gonna pay for Jauan Jennings this year is gonna have to overpay for him next year. But at the same time, he's far from a number 3. Those days are over. All right. If to put Jauan Jennings at number 3 would be disrespectful. He is a number 2 receiver. Just because he doesn't run he runs, doesn't run sub 4.5. Can't take that away from him. The dog's been in here for 3 years now. I just think that with a guy like Jauan Jennings, you do have to change your offense. I mean, he's got strengths that you're going to have to accentuate if you pay him that kind of money. That's the problem. The problem is that the majority of what he does is always in the in-between, right? It's always the tough plays, the tough routes, the yards after the catch, the being the guy that can come in as a number 2 when he's traditionally a number 3. He's always put in a position where he can't do anything but help, right? We're all, and even when the team is humming, Jauan, for many stretches of the year, was many stretches of last year and the year before last, when we really didn't have it going in the air, Jauan was that guy, But I do believe that he eats and he gets a lot of his production because of where he is in offenses, which is more of a third option. I believe that his skill set would take a tick down if he got the money and he had to just simply go win, because that's what the money is for in the NFL. When you get paid top guy money, you're not getting schemed. You're not getting the best play. No, you have a skill set where we don't got to worry about you. That's why we're paying you the money. We can give you a basic route tree and you can go out there and just win. Jauan can't do. And I believe that he's going to find some teams that are going to pay him the money just because teams love optics. There's a number 2 receiver on 32 teams. So there's somebody that's going to want him, But again, for our blood, no, we know how we got him. We know what we used them for. And just because we developed them doesn't mean that we have to sell the bank just to keep a toy that we repurpose. And we do it all the time. It was Aziz Al-Shaair. We had to do it with DJ Jones, where, we're not overpaying for you. We know what you were when you got here. We know what we had to do to develop you. Right now, if some other team wants to ride off of that for a couple of years, that's their prerogative. Another thing, too, about low players that you bring in that we developed, the thing why I always side with the Niners on letting go of players that they developed and picked up late is that you just can't gauge their ceiling, right? There's a reason why they had to get developed as much as they did in the NFL. And you don't know how much attrition has worn off of how good they can be through the duration of what it took them to get there, right? Dre Greenlaw was a guy that had to get developed over time. And now we seeing him 3 years in off of starting, 4 years in off of starting, and Dre Greenlaw's body can't hold up, right? That's part of it. So you get a guy in the 7th round for a reason, right? And Jauan may be a guy where the time and the energy that it took to develop him, plus his playing style, you may not get that much juice out. You may not get that much juice for the squeeze if you pay him big time money. Jauan could be a whole different player the year after he gets paid, and that's just it. He's different. So I'm letting him walk. I agree with you.
Yeah, I guess I'll try to make the point a little clearer too. Briscoe says Jennings the best number 3 in the league, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just think you're going to have to pay him like a number 2, and I would prefer not to. And then Rome says, hey, I like your opinions, but you're way off on the Jennings comment. I guess my thought process is if you're paying Jennings, then something went wrong with the other guys that you've committed to, either Pearsall, Watkins, Cowing, Ayuk, somewhere something went wrong. And I'm hoping that Pearsall can be your number 2 for the next, 3 years on a cheap deal. And you've got Brandon Ayuk, who will come back healthy and be your number 1. Kittle's obviously your tight end, and either Watkins or Cowing or one of those guys can be your number 3. You've put so many assets into it that if you sign Jennings and pay him like a number 2 wide receiver, it's going to be a lot of money for a guy who's going to be, I believe, 29 years old at the end of this season. And I just feel like something went wrong elsewhere. And again, these are the decisions that you can't pay everybody. You can't get tied to your fandom with every player. You have to let people go. And to your point, you talked about some really good players that I think we all hated watching walk out the door, but it had to happen. Greenlaw and Al-Shaair and DJ Jones and a bunch of guys. I mean, this happens. You can't pay everybody. And to me, I'm comfortable making the decision, letting him walk if those other guys are what we think they can be. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. It happens. It's like you said, it's a good thing. There's some guys that I wish we'd have kept, but you look at Jauan and look at what's another guy that kind of fits this? E-Man, right? E-Man was a hell of a find for us, right? And we loved him at corner. But at the end of the day, when he's healthy, you feel damn near jealous that he's not playing with us because of how much of a player he can be. But he's hurt all the time. You know what I mean? He can't have consistency. We can't do it. And I know we feel the love because we built it. That's it's almost like a car, a barn find, right? And you build it up, you put all your love into it, you get it going, you put it on the road, and it's awesome, but it's got a cracked carburetor, bro. Throw that piece of shit away. You know what I'm saying? I know you love it. You got it a paint job. And it can do 10-second quarters. That's awesome. But the truth of the matter is that it's a road hazard. And if you put your family in it, you might go flying off the side of the road. Get rid of the sentimental value. I understand that we put a lot into them, but some guys we just can't pay them.
Absolutely. Greatness says he'll only make around 18% of the cap his first 3 years. Again, these numbers are great, but we don't know the details. Greatness. I've heard this. That's awesome, but that's all hearsay, and that can break down in a multitude of different ways. If the average is 18%, that's a total of what? 54%? Is that 10%, 10%, and 34%? Is that 20%, 20%, and then 14%? We don't know how that breaks down. So it's nice to hear all that, but until I can put eyes on actual numbers, I can't really say, hey, great deal or bad deal. It's just, I got to be patient, and it sucks. I mean, trust me, I think everybody loves to be first on these things. I'm just not going to overreact to something I don't know the details on.
Is there a reason why you think they're holding up on it, though? Isn't it? It is kind of weird that they haven't really rolled out the.
Well, because it hasn't been signed. It's until it has been signed and processed through the league, you don't ever get details. It hasn't been officially signed. It's been leaked. We know that that's what the deal's going to be. I have no idea. That I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for this money that they sold the team with to go through the bank and have available. Yeah. Maybe the team wants to do it. What they've got, I think, like a mini camp here in a week. Maybe they just want to do it first day there, and then he can, talk with the reporters about it and ask, who knows? Yeah, there's a multitude of different things, but it's nothing to worry about. It's not like it's not going to get done or it's not done. It's just technically hasn't been signed, hasn't been processed through the league, and until it is, we're not going to know about it. So
I got it.
Sir Cash Money says, howdy, gents. I'm just letting y'all know I'll be turning evil soon. It sucks, but these things happen. Dude,
gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Dazza says, if you had to start a franchise with one of these QBs, who would you choose? Love, Purdy, Goff, Stroud, Daniels, Hurts, or Caleb?
Stroud.
Goff is out for me. He's too old. We know what he is. Caleb, I wasn't the biggest fan coming out of college. I think he'll be fine. But
oh shit, Jaden Daniels, I'm tripping.
All right, Caleb, we don't know exactly what he's going to be, but I wasn't a biggest fan of him as a prospect. Hurts, I just said, is not my play style. Love throws too many interceptions for me. I would go Stroud or Daniels. I mean, it's easy to say Daniels now because we just saw like an amazing rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
But we could have said that about Purdy a year ago or Stroud a year ago.
Could have said that about CJ Stroud, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? So for me, I'm going to go with who I liked as the best prospect coming out of college. And the order that I would have ranked these prospects coming out of college would have been Stroud, Daniels, and then Caleb, Purdy would have been how I would have ordered that. So I don't know.
What do you think about Michael Penix?
I don't know, man. I saw a lot of him at Washington. He's older. He is a bit injury prone. We'll see. I hope he does well. I wasn't the biggest fan of him though. So
he's got the nod this year. He's going to start this year. So
he will. My biggest thing is health. Can he stay healthy? I mean, as far as a thrower, a pure thrower, you definitely do see it. But it's the health thing, man. He really struggled to stay healthy in college. So
I got 3 more guys for you. I know you love quarterbacks, so I know this will be easy for you.
Yeah.
But I know you won't be thrown off. Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May. How do you feel? And what's the kid out of Ole Miss that just got picked up?
Dart. How would I have ranked those guys as prospects?
Yeah.
So you had Dart, May, Nix, and Bryce Young. I would have had them May, Young, Nix, Dart.
Okay. Just want to see how it rolls out, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, though, is prospects is not necessarily how they pan out in the NFL. That's for sure. So PGZ coming in says, salute, fellas. They finally sent me a hat, Jesse. Well, finally, you got your hat. That's from the NFC West Roundtable. Definitely check out the NFC West Roundtable if you haven't. We go live on Tuesdays. We actually have something pretty special we're going to be rolling out tomorrow night. So awesome. Excited for that. I see he's wearing the Seattle Seahawks. He's a Seahawks fan, and he won a draft hat. He won a draft hat on the show, so I'm glad that he finally got it.
Is that the hat?
Yeah, I think that's the hat in the picture. Yeah.
I see you, Pete.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's rank the division. Let's talk about the division. We talked a little bit about, how signing your own players doesn't necessarily make you better, even though it makes you feel good. So just out of curiosity, first of all, what record do you have the 49ers at? And do you have an order of how you think the NFC West is going to play out?
I don't have an order of how the NFC West is going to play out, but I do have my Niners record. I have us going 10-7.
Okay.
And I think 10-7 to lay us second in the division.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's what I have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's totally fair. I had us at 11-6.
You got us at 11-6.
Well. Yeah.
Grant has us at like 5-12.
Well, that'll be fun to talk about tomorrow. Did it really that bad?
Get into that. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. I can't see that. This schedule is too bad. I do get it. I think that looking at a strength of schedule can be a bit overrated. I think the last 4 teams that had the easiest strength of schedule ended up with sub 500 records. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything. And you are predicting what a team's going to look like year to year. I mean, I'll give you an example. The 49ers were 6-11. So any team that has the 49ers on their schedule this year, their strength of schedule is driven down by the 49ers. And if you think the 49ers are going to be a good team, then you have to overlook what last year was. And we're going to have to do that for a lot of teams on the schedule this year. We just have to overlook it.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So I have my win-loss record on who I think is going to win and lose for my 10-7 record. But we can go.
What are the 7 losses you have?
Seattle week 1, Rams week 5, Houston week 8.
Okay.
Rams.
Let's go back. Let's do one by one real quick. Okay. So Seattle week 1. You really think they're going to lose to Seattle week 1?
At Seattle on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I there's a lot that they're going to have to come out. They're going to have to come out swinging. I'd love to be wrong, but I have them going 10-7, and this is one of the 7.
Okay. I'll tell you why I think they beat Seattle and see if I can sway you here.
Okay.
So first of all, Seattle, early September, you're not going to have any rain. It's going to be beautiful. That's number 1. Number 2, Seattle has a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback, and a new receiver room.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just look at that and say that I think their offense, at least early on, is probably going to struggle a little bit. I do respect their defense. Don't get me wrong. I think that defense is fully legit. Mm-hmm. But the 49ers, we can talk about health with CMC and Trent Williams and whatever. It's week 1. You're not going to be healthier than week 1. So for me, I think the health thing that you could predict and roll into the 49ers and maybe why they lose some games down the stretch, tired, all that's not going to play. Weather, can Brock Purdy throw in rain? We'll figure out through the course of the season probably, but we're not going to find out week 1. And also Seattle does have essentially a whole new offense that they're working with. So for me, I just think, and I think defenses are early on are ahead of offenses. So I know that we have a young defense we're working through. Don't get me wrong. That could be an issue, but defenses early on are ahead of offenses. So give me the 49ers to win that game because of that.
Okay. I think that the Niners are going to come out shaky. I think that I don't necessarily I don't believe in the offensive line and the construction of it until I actually see Trent Williams' impact. I'm on that level with it, honestly. And if I don't see Trent Williams at left tackle, all bets are off. So that's 1. 2, we got to figure out what we're going to do at left guard. 3, Jake Brindle starting at center. That's a problem within of itself. All right. 2, 4, we don't know who our number 1 receiver is. BA is not going to be the number 1 receiver. It might have to be Ricky Pearsall. And we got to see what we're going to do with who's going to step up and be number 2. Jauan Jennings could be that guy, figuring out what we're going to do with that. 5, really, Christian McCaffrey. I know he's supposed to be healthy. I know he's supposed to be coming back and nothing has gone off, but you can't run the ball every damn down. I got to be able to see what we're going to do as far as running back by committee, if we're going to play other guys. And lastly, just on offense, it's Kyle. Everybody knows Kyle in the NFL, bro. And if we get thrown something that's not used to in this game, in the divisional rivalry on the road, week 1, with essentially
hold on. You just got super robotic. I don't know if that's on my end or if it's on your end, but you're definitely super robotic.
Oh, can you guys hear me now? Am I super robotic?
It's
still?
better. It's better now.
Yeah. All right. Then not only that, but I hate to do this, but week 1, and we're starting 5 rookies on defense, okay, on the road, in the loudest atmosphere that the NFL can hand you. I just don't think that everything is just going to go clean, right? That's just me. So for me, I don't see it. I think that it's going to be a tough game, tough fought game. But if the Niners beat Seattle week 1, it's going to be a tough win, and I'll be very impressed at the fact that they'll be able to show midseason form in week 1. Am I still sounding like T-Pain?
No, it went in and out. You're fine now. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good. I would have paused it if it had stayed bad.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
I think it was your internet. You were like getting a little blurry there for a second. You're good to go.
Oh, now, okay.
You know what I like about this season, Coach, is that the 49ers are going to have to figure out how to actually win in the NFL. And what I mean by that is this team under Shanahan has been used to, when they win, they
front
just
running,
blow people out, man. They come in, punch them in the mouth, knock them out in round 1 or round 2, and that's about it. And then when they get hit in the mouth, it turns into a struggle. They don't know how to win those tight games, and that's a lot of what happened last year. They were in those tight games, and they couldn't figure out how to get over the hump. What I like about this season is we can talk about the schedule and how easy it is. I will say that I bet you, and I don't know which ones, I'm just going to throw it out there, 12 of those 17 games are going to be one-score games, one way or the other. Now, the 49ers may win those. They may lose those. But I just think that these games are going to be closer than what we are used to. And for me, long-term, that is a good thing, because that is going to teach these young players how the NFL truly goes. Most players and most teams don't get to just come in and steamroll NFL opponents year after year the way the 49ers have in the past. So for me, this year is going to be a crucial building block towards the future success of this team.
I agree. Me and you were on the phone the other day, and I was telling you that I was frustrated with a take that I couldn't necessarily nail home, right? With understanding the Niners and their ability to play, to basically use everything but the kitchen sink every week to win games, right? Because that's what it takes to build a decent season when you don't have that much talent. Like you said, the Niners have been able to coast off of talent, being able to be front runners, go into games and throttle down up 2 scores, go into games and start slow, because we know the opponent isn't better than us and we'll catch up with them later and win the game. We've seen many different versions of mediocre football that struts with the Niners. It's just the facts, right? And we've seen them not try so hard because they have all of the weapons. They have had an unusually loaded team for half of a decade, right? That's facts with the Niners. And because of that, they don't have to live the life of a Commanders or a Browns or a Jaguars or a Packers team, where not Packers, but teams where they have just enough talent. They don't have overboard talent. There's not guys that they could just wait on, starters that are really backups, backups that are really starters, rather. No, they have just enough talent where they're going to have to play balls to walls every quarter. Coaches are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to go ahead and move around MacGyver to win a game. And the Niners have not had to really, they've never had to really swim in that soup for the past couple of seasons. Last year was a season that you would have liked to see, where you're saying, okay, pull out all the stops. We need to put out a decent season, win 8 games, win 9 games. Like, I needed to see a Mike Tomlin-esque coaching performance from Kyle, where the entire world knows that you don't got much. You got some guys, but it's going to take hellified coaching to even piece together a resemblance of a decent year. And I feel like we kept coming to that threshold. And because we didn't like the fact that we couldn't front run a team, we couldn't blow a team out, we took our ball and went home. We thought we were better than the process. We lost about 4 to 5 games last year that we could have won if we would have just played hard. If we would have used different running backs, if we would have used running back by committee, if we would have got the team off the field, like even games that they like to that fans like to say, oh man, the Niners defense is the team that gave up, leads to different teams last year. It's like, bro, the defense is the only thing that plays balls out. They're the only unit on this team that I have watched. Think about this. For 9 years since you've watched Kyle Shanahan coach the 49ers, how many times can you count that the defense did not show up to play?
I mean, just straight didn't show up.
Just straight up didn't show up.
Not many.
Now think about the offense. Think about how many putrid performances that they have showed up where you're like, they're not prepared. They don't know what they're doing. The defense is throwing the offense off the field 4 to 5 times. It's taken 2 whole quarters for the offense to finally wake up. How many times did we used to watch? Remember when Russ was with the Seahawks? And the defense would be doing just enough. Russ would be screwing up the whole game. And even though we finally would get a lead, it'd be like, dude, they're hanging around. They're hanging around. Russ is going to take off. And then all of a sudden, Russ breaks the pocket, starts playing backyard ball, outrunning the defense, prolonging drives. And what do? We let the whole offense off the hook. It's the defense, man. Defense couldn't get Russ on the ground. No, the offense fucked around for 3 quarters. That's what happened. So this year, I want to see Kyle use all of the weapons on his offense. You're not good enough to have a process. You ain't going to the Super Bowl this year, buddy. So now you got to actually coach. You can't say, oh, well, Debo didn't work, so we just kind of scrapped that. Oh, well, Jimmy knows the play, so that didn't work. Oh, well, there was a guy that, no, you got to be creative. You got to actually coach the team, right? So that's what I love about this year offensively. That's why I have us losing to Seattle. I don't think Kyle can coach his way out of a wet paper bag, man. I don't think so. I've been watching him for 9 years. He can't do it.
Did you say we let him off the hook, Coach?
We let him off the hook, man. If you want to crown him, crown him.
But they are who we thought they were. We let them off the hook.
I love it.
All right. Okay. All right. So we disagree there. So I think we're gonna agree a lot on the schedule then from that point on. So quickly, what was the second loss you had?
Second loss, week 5, Rams.
Okay, agree. What's the next loss?
Third loss, week 8, Houston.
So I said either Houston or the Giants. I don't know which one, but they'll lose one of them. So I'm with you.
I got us beating the Giants, but then I have us going at Arizona, losing in Arizona.
Yeah,
and that's week 11.
Yep, agree with that.
I got us beating Carolina Monday night.
Yep,
losing to Cleveland at Cleveland.
Me too. I think that's a massive trap game, dude. Because they're at that point they will have played 13 games in a row without a bye. Mm-hmm. So war of attrition is going to be crazy. Jim Schwartz owns Kyle Shanahan, and it's November 30th, I think, is the game. Weather's not going to be in their favor. Yeah, I'll take the Browns, man, in that game. I think that'll be an upset for sure. Yep.
And my last loss, that's 6 losses, and my last loss is Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Right before we play Seattle. I have us beating Seattle last game of the season.
I have them beating Chicago. One loss you didn't throw in there that I have is Tampa. I think they'll lose to Tampa as well.
I got us beating Tampa.
Okay.
They're the only playoff team we beat last year.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of factors that went into that, but sure.
I mean, that was Chokegate. I know that Mike Evans didn't play. And that's when, you know what I'm saying, Debo Samuel had domestic violence allegations. But, hey, look, I just think that, we'll be able to go over there and win, man. I don't know, but I think so. Yeah. Why are we going out there twice?
It's just based off of, well, now we're playing their whole division, so that's why.
So we got NFC
last
South.
Year. Yeah, we got NFC South this year, that's why. But yeah, I think that'll be because I think they play the Rams and then they play the Bucks. I think after that, that's really when we're going to know the 49ers are. Unless the rails have fallen completely off and you're right, they lose to Seattle, and let's say they lose, I don't know, some crappy team before then. Assuming the 49ers season is going pretty smooth up through then, after those 2 weeks, if they lose to both the Rams and they lose to the Bucks, then we're going to know, all right, this, it's a good team. It'll probably be a playoff team, but it's not that type of team. If they win one of those games, I'm going to be thoroughly impressed if they have won the games prior as well. So I'm excited. I think that's what's cool too, is we're going to know very early on what this team is and what it's not, which I think will be fun.
Dude, grand opening, grand closing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is like Alabama, Georgia on a neutral site week 1. They got us at Seattle, division game. We're going to know exactly what's going to happen. And like you said, for me, it's week 5. I'm not really pressed over Tampa, but week 5 is everything to me. We've got 3. By week 5, we would have seen our entire division. Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams. Right? Yeah. By week 5. That's crazy to me. Right? So we'll know about the first half of our divisional standings, no matter what we do for the rest of the season, by week 5. So that's everything. Right? Those games, if we can come out of week 5 2-1 in the division, right? Possibly 1-2, knowing that we got some other games down the road. But if we come out week 5 0-3 to the division, hang it up. I don't care who we hang it up.
Yeah, that won't be good. It's not going to rain week 1 in Seattle. That time of year, it just doesn't really rain there. All right, Coach. In the interest of saving time, I've put this together already on the back end. So let me give you the order of all these. And then let's talk through them and you tell me where you agree or disagree. Is that fair?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll start with quarterback.
Rams.
We agree here?
We agree there. Yes, okay. We do.
Okay. Can I say the hardest position for me to rank is running back? Because I just don't know what Christian's going to be. Because let me say this. Here's what I want to do based off of Christian being Christian. Okay. If it's Christian being Christian, for me, it's easy and I've got this. However, if Christian looks like Christian last year, then it can easily be this. Is that fair?
Yeah. But
you just cut out. What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting robotic again.
I'm getting robotic again.
Okay.
Do you hear me now? Yeah, I'm saying that we don't have anybody that can actually back up Christian. Oh, you know what it is? Freddie 87 just got it. It's my beard hitting the mic.
Oh, we'll move the mic away from your mouth.
My girl loved his beard. This shout out to you, baby. I know that my beard is hitting the mic. This beard got superpowers, man. But not now. Yeah, so my beard is hitting the mic, bro. It is what it is. My bad. But yes, I agree with James Conner. Who's the Seattle Seahawks running back?
They got Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams is there. No, that's the Rams running back. Seahawks.
Oh, you say Cardinals. Sorry, Connor.
Cardinals is James Conner. I said the Seahawks.
Oh, they've got Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think that Kenneth Walker is a better running back than Kyron Williams.
Yeah, my biggest thing is he hasn't been able to stay healthy though, and I haven't seen the consistency from him. Right, and a lot of that could be the offensive line too. It's just tough because I don't know.
I think that Kyron, honestly, real talk, for me, it's healthy CMC. It's CMC, Rams, Seattle, and then the Cardinals. You think James Conner is the second best running back in our league, in our division?
He's just been the most consistent, man. I can't, what's funny is I haven't liked James Conner forever since he was on Pittsburgh, but the man gets the job done. I don't know how else to say it.
I mean, the only thing James Conner be whooping Fred Warner's ass too. He do not like, you know what I'm saying? But if we're looking at like, and then also if we're looking at just backs, right? I like Corum and Kyron Williams together in the Rams. We disrespected Charbonnet too. Charbonnet with Seattle and Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, that's a great tandem. So I would put, for me, I'd go Niners, then I'd go Kyron Williams, just because Kenneth Walker, he's always hurt. And I would go Niners, Rams, Seattle, and then Arizona.
You put Arizona last. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because part of James Conner's running game is Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair. But you do agree, right? Like if CMC looks like CMC last year, this, regardless of the order of the rest of these guys, the 49ers go to dead last. Like they're either first or they're last. There's not there. I don't think there's any in between with the 49ers.
Ricky Bobby,
you're the first or you're last. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So, okay.
But I love James Conner. Don't get it twisted. I love James Conner is Fred Warner's kryptonite. James Conner has some of the best games of his career against Fred Warner.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. O-line.
Rams. Cardinals.
Oh,
hell
Cardinals,
no.
Cardinals line sucks.
You better not put us second.
I just did.
You better put the Seahawks second. We are
Here's
not
the thing.
second best O line in the division. You're tripping.
Am I though?
Yeah.
Dude, your mic's got hella feedback, bro. What the hell's going on with your mic?
I got no fucking clue, bro. I streamed 2 days in a row yesterday. Everything was fine.
All right. It's when you're talking and I'm talking, I hear myself. I think I just reduced your background noise, and that hopefully that helps it. We'll see.
All right.
Okay. Hear me out for a second. First of all, we have the best offensive lineman in the division. That's number one, Trent Williams. That's end of deal. Seattle has good names. They do.
Okay.
But you look at their production, they've been a bottom 5 offensive line for like 3 years in a row. So the names are great, but the production hasn't been there. They were way worse than the 49ers offensive line last year. Way worse. It wasn't even close as far as production goes. And then the Cardinals, they're not a good offensive line, and they lost Will Hernandez in the offseason. I don't know. Man. I think that, well, listen, Queen of the Pigs, don't get me wrong. I'm not acting as if the 49ers have an elite offensive line, but in comparison, until Seattle shows me something, I love the names there. Don't get me wrong, but they have not produced at all.
I don't know, man. For me, the Cardinals are obviously Seattle and the Cardinals are a tough running game, right? It's kind of weird that the Rams have the best offensive line, but they run the ball the least effectively out of all of us. We're the only ones who actually lead with the run. I think that the Niners get an uptick with what our offensive line could do is because that's what our offense is. We're a run first team. So a lot of what we do is generated off of CMC with the offensive line. But, Seattle's had some major injuries. I wouldn't be mad at this lineup, right? Seattle's had some major injuries on offensive line. They didn't play with 2 tackles for a long ass time. And then, like you said, the Cardinals. So I'll go with this. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm just let you. As much as I don't like the offensive line, I'm not big on having them number 2 in anything. But
I get it. I like saying it out loud sucks, but when you really break it down, it's kind of what 2. It is. You know what I mean? It just kind of is what it is. So. And also, I mean, the 49ers last year, their offensive line, whether you look at PFF, ESPN, CBS, they've all got their own rankings. They were anywhere from 11 to 14. Like they're going to be better than some of the teams in their division. They just are. So
respect.
Okay. Wide receiver. This one's easy. Number 1, right? We agree with this. Okay. I think the 49ers are 2. Now, obviously this is banking on, Ayuk, right, at some point, but Marvin Harrison hasn't proven anything yet. Jackson Smith and Jigba has at least proven he's a pretty good player.
I love Jackson Smith and
and then I would go here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Greg Dortch and those guys. I love Trey McBride. I think that people don't give him enough
tight
respect.
Tight end, hold on. Tight end separate.
Oh shit, tight end. Yeah, damn. I was just about to say I don't think people give the tight ends a lot of respect in the passing game. Harrison, Dortch, and Michael Wilson. I'd say they're last in the pack. Yeah, I'd say I like this.
Okay. Let's do tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else did I do? Oh, I went. Oops. Rams, Seahawks. 1 and 2 is easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say McBride over
Kittle,
and, I guess, at this
Kittle.
point.
Yeah.
But to me, Kittle, I'll go Kittle, McBride. The Rams at least have Higbee.
But Fant is not bad, bro.
No, he's not. He's not. They both drafted a rookie, which we don't know how that's going to play out. To me, 3 and 4, you could go either way. You could go either way with it. But that's just how I landed. But 1 and 2.
Wait a minute. Can we back up one more position? Can we back up one position to receivers, please?
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
How are we banking on BA with the receivers?
Okay, even if we don't bank on BA,
right?
We got Pearsall, we got Jennings. I mean, Jennings is proven to be the best receiver out of who's left in Seattle. Cooper Kupp's washed, or at least seemingly washed.
So you're taking. So wait a minute. So with Carolina, I mean Cardinals. Sorry, with Arizona Cardinals, they've got Marvin Harrison Jr. All right,
hasn't done much.
Hasn't materialized. Okay, but at least he's playing. Looking at you, Brandon Ayuk. Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch. All right. And they've got who's that? Michael Wilson.
Okay.
49. What did the Arizona Cardinals do through the air last year?
A lot of Trey McBride. A ton of Trey McBride is what they did through the air. Not a lot else.
Let me see. Season grades. I don't want season. I agree with that. It's just I think that we're doing a little bit too much of just relying on BA being there, being back.
Even if BA's not there, give me DeMarcus Robinson, Pearsall, and Jennings. I'll take them
over Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, and Valdez-Scantling.
Cooper Kupp,
or Seattle.
I don't know what Cooper Kupp is. If Cooper Kupp is the same guy from last year, I mean, he's not a good player anymore. He's just a name at this point.
Smith and Jigba's a player. I'm out on Valdez-Scantling.
But Valdez-Scantling is whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Marvin Harrison's a great name, but you got to prove it before I can just give it to you.
That's true. My bad. Emiliano got at me.
Oh, what did he say?
He told me, he said, yo, he's like, damn, coach, it's not like BA threw himself the medicine ball and wanted his knee demolished. I get it. I'm being honest about the exercise, guys.
No, that's fair. I love that you are. I want pushback. I don't want to just be like, yeah, I agree, man. That's good to go. I like to have the conversation because I think there are people that are having the conversation as well. Joseph says BA, I feel, is going to be at most a number 2. Yeah, that may be the case. We may not have a number 1. That could be fair. D-line, people aren't going to like this one, but when we break it down, I think to me it's pretty obvious. But I go here, here. What do you think? I think the coach left on accident. Hold on. Got that McDonald's Wi-Fi going. I see him in the background. I see that he's trying to join, but he's not like actually there. Coach. Nope. Technical issues. Just talk real quick. I knew he was having mic issues. It's a tough question, man. It's a tough question. Yeah, I've got him frozen. I've got him frozen. So, I feel like this is a pause comment. I feel like this is a pause comment. All right, let me talk you through this because I think the initial is I've talked about how much I love the draft for the 49ers. I love what they have done. But we have 3 players that are likely going to start, 3/4 of this offensive line or defensive line, rather, that to me, we know nothing about. Great prospects, very excited about them, but we don't know anything. We do know the Rams have a legit defensive line. We know Seattle has a legit defensive line, guys that have played in this league and produced at a high level. The Cardinals' defensive line was absolutely buns last year, but they also went out and got players that are proven. They went and added a Calais Campbell. They went and added a Sweat. Then they drafted a couple rookies. They added one more player too. I forget who else they added. Let me look at their defensive line real quick because they did add another player. Cardinals depth chart. Got to remember who it was. Oh, Dalvin Tomlinson. Yeah. So they added Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Josh Sweat, which I get. He's technically a linebacker, but he's an edge rusher, right? So I include him in this mix. They've already got Browning. They drafted Darius Robinson last year. They drafted 2 more rookies this year. Yeah, man. I think that the Cardinals right now would lay claim to be better. And at the end of the year, though, listen, I mean, last year, if I would have done this, the Rams would have been, last year, it probably would have been something like this. And now we look and say the Rams are number 1. So I could see a scenario, don't get me wrong, where the 49ers end up number 1 at some point or 2 maybe. But right now, 3 unproven players. I think I got to say that the 49ers are last year, even with Bosa. All right, let's see if Coach, you good? Okay.
Yo,
right, what's up, man? Yo. Oh.
The camera won't connect to the browser. It's a StreamYard, bro. Are we live?
Oh, I see you. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, of course I'm live.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say something that was not live worthy. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're live, man. We're live. Okay, so the last thing that I just did without you here, and I walked through it, I can do it again for you, but the defensive line, this is how I ranked it. Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, 49ers.
Wow. Okay. Explain that.
Pretty easy.
I get the Rams. Mm-hmm. I understand the Rams. I think that they did really good. They got in 2 D linemen last year. What's the kid's name? Fisk. Yep. They inside guy Ford. They added Poona Ford. That's true. Yep. They've got Turner at nose tackle. Kobe Turner. I like him.
Yep.
Outside, and then don't forget about Byron Young. That's a strong front. That's strong. So I'll give it to the Rams. I'll give you that. Yeah. They've got Zaven Collins, Josh Sweat, that they just got. Inside, they're struggling though, but they've got Walter Nolan now. They picked up Dalvin Tomlinson. All right. They picked up Dalvin Tomlinson, and who's this? Justin Jones.
They got Calais Campbell too.
They did get Calais Campbell. That's okay. I ain't stunting Calais Campbell's old ass. He old, man.
He's hella good still. He was still like the number 3 rated defensive lineman.
But he got like that old man. He got like that mechanic strength. Like, okay. Mm-hmm. So who's next?
Seahawks.
Seattle.
Well, I've got Seattle ahead of the Rams. Oh God, dude, the echo's bad, bro. Bad. I don't know what to tell you. It's fine. We'll just do this. When you're talking and I'm talking at the same time. So we just have to do a good job of not talking over each other. That's it. So Seattle, real quick. I put them at number 2. They've got Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, DeMarcus Lawrence, old butt, and Chena Owosu, and Boye Mafe.
Right. So I'd be okay with that. I'm okay with the ranking.
Okay. I think it's tough, right? Because the 49ers, we want to be excited, but the reality is we've got 3 rookies that haven't played an NFL snap. And I was saying that last year, if I would have done this ranking, the Rams would have been probably number 3 or 4. But by the end of the season, they're number 1, right? So the 49ers, by the end of the season, could fly up this list. Don't get me wrong. But right now, when we haven't seen them play a snap, this is an impossible list to put the 49ers higher when you've got defensive lines that have multiple real guys on them.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Okay, let's do... Yeah, it will be for sure. All right, let's do
coaching.
Let's do linebackers.
Okay.
Let's do linebackers. Okay, hold on. Okay, this one, obviously, come on. We just signed him. I'm definitely not throwing shade now. Ernest Jones. I'll go the Rams and then the Cardinals. What do you think?
Rams have horrible linebackers.
The Cardinals do too, though.
Yeah.
I just don't know who's worse.
I don't know about sleeping on Seattle just yet. I'm okay with this. You know,
I mean, we got Fred Warner.
It's nothing wrong. It's right home about. You know what I'm saying? I agree with it.
Yeah, coach sounds fine when he's talking. The problem is, and it might just be on my end, and if it is, I can deal with it. But when coach talks and I talk, I hear my voice echoing back to me. That's what I'm saying. So that's all it is. If you guys don't hear it and it's not ruining the show, then I'll deal with it. I could care less. I'm more worried about you guys and the quality for you guys, but you guys tell me. And this is fine, Papa, but you tell me the ranking. Where should I put the 49ers? Based off of 75% of these guys haven't played a snap. Where should the 49ers be ranked over real guys that have proven to be players in the NFL? You make a good argument and I'll change it. But for now, can't do it. Okay. Cornerback. Why don't you do this? I've got my list. Why don't you give me your corner rankings, coach? And I'll tell you if I agree with you this time around. Coach is frozen again. Damn, dude. What is going on? All right, sounds fine to you. Yeah, that's the other thing. We have to include depth. This isn't just the starters. You know what I mean? Depth is included. And when we're looking at the defensive line, I mean, all 3 of those teams have good depth. I don't know about the 49ers yet. Okay, well, this is what I did corners wise. I think I did 3, 4. I think is how I had it. I think that's how I had it. Seattle has the best corner in the division in Witherspoon. To me, he's the best corner in the division. I think Deommodore Lenoir is number 2. So that's why I basically went 1 and 2. The 49ers, obviously, Renardo Green looked awesome. We'll see how it plays out for him. Coach, put your hand up if you're ready. Good. Okay. I was just talking through this real quick. So cornerbacks, I went Seattle, 49ers, Rams, Cardinals. What do you think of that?
I agree with that.
Oh, I thought you froze again.
No, I'm just reading it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Listen, again, I'm trying to remain consistent here. We don't know what rookies are. We don't know what Will Johnson is. So if Will Johnson's a stud, I'll change it. But right now, it's tough to say. So
I mean, shoot, we're the ones who drafted over 5 defensive starters and gave ourselves last on defensive line.
So we're
staying consistent.
Thank you. Okay.
Joseph said fullbacks.
Fullbacks. We win. Safety.
We're last.
Yeah. You're dang right we are. Hold on. I think I went here, Seattle. I think so. Here. And yes, I agree. We're last. Malik Mustafa is not healthy. We're relying on who knows who.
Jair Brown's coming off of a regression. Yeah. Had a bad year.
So I think we're last. So, and then the last one that I have here is
coaching?
Head coach. Yep. So obviously
Sean, Kyle, Arizona, Seattle. Yep.
I mean, Arizona and Seattle are same, basically.
Interchangeable.
But one guy's been doing it a little bit longer, so I'll give the nod to Gannon.
Siegel is injured, Joseph.
Yeah, that's true. Both. So there you go. Fullbacks. What category? And I'm not doing special teams because, All right, so here's how we had it. You guys can slowly take a look at this. You tell me what you think.
Receivers. Yeah, the Rams got us. O-line.
Offensively, man, the Rams are stacked, clearly, is what we're seeing. But the 49ers are too.
We're not there. We're not bad.
No, we're right there. The problem is this. It really all comes down to this, because if this is how it is at the running back, that means CMC's healthy and CMC is CMC. But if he's not either, and all of a sudden this turns to this, we're in real trouble.
Everything else starts to fall down. O-line, receivers, everything.
Everything. So for me, it really offensively comes all down to this. And then defensively, like,
we're all over the place.
We're a little all over the place, but we're not awful by any means. And there's potential here. There's a lot of potential here, but we got to have some rookies prove out. So
what
I
really
think
needs
overall,
to step up,
I don't feel
there
bad.
You go. Yeah, safety is where it's all going to happen on safety and defensive line depth. And that will spot. You know what? Forget that. There's tons of questions on. Think about this. We got to see how Demo's going to do as the number one guy from now on, right? That's a whole thing, right? Him, and he's been chirping a whole lot, thinking he's the number one guy. Okay, we got to find ourselves a slot. I mean, a nickel, all right? That could be Upton Stout. We don't know, but we got to find a nickel. Got to keep Renardo Green healthy at that number 2 spot over at the second corner. So that's a whole story within of itself. Safety, well documented. Jair Brown is coming off of a bad year. Malik Mustafa and Marquise Siegel are hurt. Okay. Who are we relying on over there? Pinnock? Like, it's safe. That free safety position is wide open. All right. Will is wide open. DJ Greenlaw's gone. We got to figure out what we're going to do with D Winners, but also we need a third linebacker to stand up. Right? I know we've been talking about D Winners, Jalen Grant. No, it's D Winners. We don't have enough. It's D Winners, Fred Warner, and then we have to find a third guy. Now, whether or not that's Nick Martin, we don't know. But there has to be another Will. Okay? So there's that. And then D-line, we could talk all day. we don't even want to get into the pass rush side of it, but just if can these guys stand up and stop the run? And don't look now, but Alfred Collins is hurt. So we got to get him on the field. So, there's a lot of questions with defense.
Yeah, there is a lot of questions with defense, but I think when you look at this, there's questions all over the place for the division. We're not the only ones with questions, and I think this goes back to our original conversation, Coach, which was we're excited about this year because the 49ers are going to have to beat teams in close games a lot of the season, and I think a lot of that's going to happen in division as well. Field goal kicker. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about the field goal kicker. Can't trust Jake Moody, that's for sure. So Coach, you there? All right, listen, he's obviously been having some issues all night. So I think we got through everything we wanted to talk about. I appreciate everybody tuning in over on my channel, also on Coach's channel as well. We will be back next Monday for cover 2. Tomorrow night will be 4-man front. Myself, Coach, Grant, and Ryan right here on my channel, Last Second Sports. And until tomorrow, peace.